All right, thank you for staying with us. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, which is made up of 15 member countries, now has a new leader, President Bola Tinubu. President Tinubu, who was elected unanimously as the chairman at the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of States Governments in Guinea-Bissau, say this is an opportunity for member states to showcase their potentials and encourage business cooperation among the various organized private sector within the region. The president has assured that he would prioritize political stability, peace and security, as well as regional economic integration to strengthen member states. He also promised to convene a trade and investment summit in October as part of the bid to emphasize the importance of private sector-led economic growth in the sub-region. Well, joining us via Zoom from Enugu is a public affairs analyst and PR consultant, Ambrose Igboke. Ambrose, good morning. It's good to have you on the program.
Good morning. Thanks
Good morning.
for having me once more.
Good to see you.
Right.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ambrose. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Now, let's begin with President Tinubu. This is his first outing, and he was unanimously elected as chairman of ECOWAS. What do you make of this move by ECOWAS heads of state? What does it say of the confidence reposed on him to deliver?
Well, the representation of the president is that of Nigeria. So basically, is Nigeria's that was given the mandate and to represent the ECOWAS region. And the president, of course, represents Nigeria. Is embodiment of the nation in that body. I was a little bit surprised because if it is my rotational base, Nigeria just came down that seat in 2019, the immediate past president. So 4 years down the line, they gave it to Nigeria again. So I was wondering, what are the other countries doing, other 15 member countries? They didn't allow President Tinubu to even rest. I mean, the first time he's coming in, they gave it to him. But I think it also shows the fact that they have a lot of confidence in what he could deliver. His maiden speech at that body also shows that he already has a kind of pathway that he has envisioned for the body, by reiterating very resoundingly a speech against coup. We recognize that countries like Mali, Burkina Faso are under suspension because of the coups that have happened in that country. So sending a straight warning and a straight message to West African countries that coups will not be allowed, and that regional economic integration is key, and that the economy of the region will go far, because the economy of the region is very small. The GDP per capita compared to like just mere 2 or 3 EU countries that has the same population. The region has over a population of 380 million people. When you compare that with GDP of small countries in the EU, you find out that we are left far behind. So I think it's a good one, and he should use his wealth of experience in the private sector, in governance, and in international relations to be able to drive those points forward. Because it's about a strong leader that will be able to make the other ECOWAS countries move on. And I like the message he also sent to the international community, because he talked to the EU, he talked to the other foreign nations who are usually said to be, influencing coups in Africa and the rest. Democracy is the best for the continent, for the sub-region, and therefore they should hands off the issues of sponsoring insurrections and coup and militias and all those things that have ravaged the region. We have a lot of that currently going on in Chad, in Mali, in Sudan, in different parts of Nigeria too. A lot of rebellions and a lot of insurrections, a lot of terrorism going on in a lot of the African ECOWAS countries. So it's not a good thing, and the chairman has come to say it clearly, and that will not be allowed. So we wish him well in his tenure, and by the time he's handing over, we hope that the sub-region will be better for it.
All right. The issue of insecurity in the south, in the sub-region, was part of what he spoke about and was very vocal. He talked about the issue of the standby force, which he would like to work around and have in place. Now, Nigeria has shown leadership in every aspect, from Liberia to Sierra Leone to Gambia to other parts of the African region, Sao Tome and Principe, even Congo and Sudan and so on. Now, when it comes to putting that kind of a standby force together, of course, everyone has the confidence that Nigeria can do that over and over and over again. However, Nigerians are asking the question regarding charity beginning at home, because if Nigeria can do that and do all of the things it did in all of these countries, of course, it tells the capacity that the country has. But however, Nigerians are saying, before we begin to deploy taxpayers' money to handling things in Mali, to handling things in other parts of the ECOWAS country, we should start from home. I wonder what you make of this sentiments by some Nigerians.
Well, if you go back a little bit in history, we'll find out that when Nigeria spearheaded the ECOWAS, when the Liberian War and Sierra Leonean War were going on, Nigeria almost single-handedly funded ECOWAS, the ECOWAS monitoring group thing. And we're made up of substantially military personnel from the Nigerian armed forces, and then a smattering of other ones from other countries. Nigeria funded that in huge currency, foreign currency. We spent a lot of millions of dollars to sustain that campaign. And that brought to a stop the war in Liberia as well as in Sierra Leone. But that was 30 years ago. Now, what has happened is that Nigeria, over the last 20 years, 25 years, has not really been involved in, amassing that kind of military assemblage in West Africa. It has also slowed down a little. And then in the last 15 years, we have started having our own issues in terms of insurrection. And I would say that part of the issues we are having is also a failure to secure the sub-region. If Nigeria has been able to secure the sub-region, we will not have even had issues of charity having problem at home, because most of these, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, and all those things that are coming, the Al-Qaeda and some other people that are having inroads into Nigeria, are people from the other West African countries, people like from Chad, and from some of them came from from Cameroon, some of them came from Niger. So if we have been able to have those military prowess that we executed in the 90s, I don't think they would have dared to enter the country. But now we have those issues. And so that is epitomized in what is happening in the sub-region. And Nigeria is not also insulated from that. But it is not bad that Nigeria has been a leader, because the other West African countries in ECOWAS actually look up to Nigeria, whether we like it or not. Nigeria is the big brother in the ECOWAS bloc. And that is why on May 28, 1975, when ECOWAS was founded, it was founded in Lagos, in Nigeria, which was the capital of Nigeria then. Nigeria has basically carried the financial burden of ECOWAS over the years. Nigeria has also, that is why out of, I think, 38 chairmen of ECOWAS since its inception in 1975, 10 has been Nigerian heads of state. I mean, 10 of them. Obasanjo was there, I think, twice. Buhari was there twice, both as military and then, of course, so Babangida was there, Abacha was there, Salami was there, Jaradwa was there.
Even Jonathan.
Buhari was there.
Yeah.
Jonathan was there, and then again.
And
so
then
it
we
makes
have
that,
Tinubu now.
In fact, every Nigerian president over the last ever have been chair. Why? Because they want to attract funding from Nigeria. They know that if Nigeria is the chairman, their funding will flow from Nigeria. So, but the question I keep asking over the years: what has Nigeria gained by financing ECOWAS over the years? Absolutely nothing. The big brother role, Nigeria has refused to stamp its feet. The same Nigeria that commanded the respect of ECOWAS with the ECOMONC in the 90s is basically lily-livered right now. We can't even make information. We can't. The other people are even ECOWAS countries that we are helping are even taking us to the ridicule. That is why, because we have not been able as a country to, in fact, engender some respect within us. So we need to go back to the drawing board. All the billions of dollars investments, even billions, I would say, in dollars that we invested in ECOWAS, what have we gotten back? Nothing. The respect, we don't have it because we are not going to refuse to respect ourselves. Our economy is in pariah state, so they are not even respecting us. The Naira against other West African currencies is not helping us. And then President Tinubu talked about economy of the region. Economy of the region is in status. Now, we have basically 8 currencies in a 15 nation regional bloc. There cannot be any serious economic integration with that kind of dichotomy.
Right. Is this the right time to introduce the ECO, the single currency that we have been talking about?
That's what I'm saying. The eight francophone countries have the francs, CFA francs. Then the other 7 countries that are not francophone, 2 are Portuguese, 8 francophone, 2 Portuguese, and then the rest are English. The rest are English. Now, the English, the 2 Portuguese and English countries have all different currencies. While the 8 francophone have CFA franc. Now, remember, if you remember very well, there was a time, there was a push a few years back to introduce the ECO as a single currency for the regional bloc. What happened? The francophone countries went to Paris to take a lecture from the president of France, and it was blocked. They came back singing another tune and saying that they will not, be part of the ECO. And if you have a 15-member country and 8 of them, which is a greater number, says they're not going to be part of ECO, it's not going to work. So the regional bloc itself is segregated along the colonial lineage of each country. So the one colonized by Britain speak English, Gambia, Nigeria, Ghana, and then the ones that are colonized by the Portuguese speak Portuguese, the ones that are colonized by France speak French. And most of these countries, because they are not strong, they actually take instructions from their colonial masters, most of them, especially the francophone ones that are mostly near appendages to Paris. So this is the problem. And until that problem is solved, there have to be serious sanctions for those who sabotage the efforts for economic integration. For example, you cannot say want to do ECO, then you go to France and come back and tell us that you are not going to be part of it. Therefore, effectively almost sabotaging that effort. But with President Tinubu there, he can raise up the issue again and see how we can use international diplomacy to do that. Because if we keep on operating this way, we cannot achieve regional integration for the.
All right.
Because while I'm traveling to Ghana, I'll cross Cotonou, I will have another currency. I'm crossing Togo, I'm having another currency. I'm crossing to Cote d'Ivoire, another currency. I'm crossing. It doesn't make sense.
In fact, the free movement is another matter that some Nigerians are talking about along that corridor. How would you want the president to address this, still looking at economic stability?
Well, the truth is that the ECOWAS passport is almost useless. Because when you talk of, we are trying to emulate some regional blocks like the EU. We are trying to some regional blocks, and these regional blocks have made it seamless. For example, the European Union is using euro, and only 1 or 2 countries like Britain said, okay, we will not be part of it, which they did Brexit some years back. Now, if we want to follow up those models, we need to break down the boundaries of physical boundaries, economic boundaries, and the geographical boundaries. And we have not been able to do that. You use an ECOWAS passport that's supposed to give a seamless transition to 15, like a Schengen, to 15 African countries in the West African bloc. But you keep on, there are bottlenecks everywhere. They ask you face all kinds of things. Nigeria has its own passport. Benin Republic has its own passport. Ghana has its own passport, all those things. So why can't we all have an integrated ECOWAS passport and elevate it to a very strong international passport, where any ECOWAS citizen holds that passport, you can be respected all over the world. But that has not happened. So each country is still scrabbling in its own little space to be able to be recognized independently. And that is where the problem is. And then people have also expressed worry that if the ECO, for example, comes to Nigeria, is going to a lot of depreciate the naira because a lot of these countries, especially the francophone countries, the currency is very, very low and depreciated. So these are a lot of issues that we need to start thinking about and see how we can give ourselves timelines and see how we can actually achieve, at least first of all, if we can achieve the physical movements, fluidity of movements in the borders, then we can start talking about the economic integration. But as it stands now, ECOWAS is in strong tatters.
All right, Africa is the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy. Do you think that maybe that's why, because when you said earlier that Nigeria has done all of these things for these countries, what has it gained? Maybe the big brother status is the issue of Africa being the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy. So long as Africa is free, that's what Nigeria wants and wants nothing else, because Nigeria doesn't want to be a colonizer, let me put it that way, where it does to other African countries what some European countries have done to African countries. What do you think of that?
No, you cannot act that way, because smaller countries, weaker countries, look up to big brother countries for sense of direction, for protection, for prosperity. So if you cannot provide that direction, then you cannot do anything. So Nigeria, by not owning up to gaining something, for example, you cannot. For example, when it comes to Europe, the EU bloc, they look up to some countries. When Britain was there, they look up to Britain, they look up to France, they look up to Germany. So now that it is EU, that Britain has left, you will see that they are looking up to France and Germany. Those are the two countries. So you see foreign countries of the EU moving to Germany, moving to France, even Britain, that is not more part of EU, but because it's in Europe, and playing that leadership role. You see a lot of them coming into there, because Europe has a lot of, Britain has a lot of strong economy, the same with France and Germany. When you go to the northern pole, when you talk of United States of America, see the role it is playing. See even the role America is playing beyond its own continent by forming NATO, for example, and having a caution into Europe. You cannot invest so much. I don't want to have control. Nobody respects you if you don't have control in international foray. So Nigeria cannot be playing the ostrich. You are investing so much, you bury your hand in the sand, expose a part of your body, and so far others are happy, we are happy. Nobody lives like that. So we must have a voice to control the economy of the sub-region, and then team up with South Africa, Ethiopia, and maybe Egypt, Angola, and some other strong economies to now form a very formidable force for African prosperity. If we don't do that, then we are nowhere, because you cannot be Father Christmas and this kind of things. You must take control, and you must be able to point direction and leadership and take control. Leadership does not. You cannot do laissez-faire leadership in this kind of matters. So Nigeria must show that leadership, must take control, and then lead Africa to prosperity. If it continues in this trajectory, the African continent will not have economic prosperity.
All right. We'll have to leave the conversation here now, but thank you so much, public affairs analyst and PR consultant Ambrose Igboke, for your time on the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you.
Right.